Well, I want to welcome all of you, and this is a good lesson. And I'm all ready for this because I think this is one of the most important subjects anyone can get involved in. And unfortunately, it's something that, although it's pretty well known, a lot of people don't have a goal. You ask them what they really want, and they look at you like a deer in the headlights. I mean, well, we have little goal cards. I think I read it yesterday. On one side is a quote by Earl Nightingale that I love it. It said, "This great dream, this surging, dynamic thing, invisible to all of the world, except to the person who holds it, is responsible for every great advance of humankind." It seems almost unbelievable that you can take your pen and sit down and write something on a card that small. Doesn't matter what it is, and it will manifest for you. It'll come into your life. Now, when I was first told that, I thought it was a fairy tale. I thought this is Snow White and the dwarfs or something. I mean, this is Jack and the Beanstalk. I just couldn't buy it. Now, I had struggled all my life. I knew nothing about goals, absolutely nothing. If you had talked about goals, I would have thought of hockey or possibly soccer, something where goals are scored, but not something that you sit down and work toward. And you say, well, you must have known something about it. I knew nothing about it. And I don't think I'm an exception to the rule. As a matter of fact, I think there's a huge percentage of the population have no idea what a little card like that will do to their mind and then to their life. Now, it's rather sad, but that's the way it is. Okay, now, 60 years I've been playing with this. And here's a few things I've learned. This is something you really want to pay attention to. Respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves you, grows you, or makes you happy. Do you know there's all kinds of people, they're in jobs, situations. I remember many years ago, shortly after I got out of the Navy, I didn't know what I was going to do, and my mother saw an ad in the newspaper for welders, Chicago Vocational Welding School. And the guarantee of $2 an hour when you're finished. Now, this is way back in the 50s. And $2 was quite a bit. So anyway, she said, maybe you could do that. Well, I didn't know. And I said, okay. So off I went to a welding school. And I know a little bit about welding, but I'm going to tell you I'm not a welder. Anyway, I finished the school. The instructors were only getting $1.25 an hour. How were they going to guarantee us $2? Well, they couldn't guarantee us $2. And I was working for this guy in the West End of Toronto, had to go in public transportation, and he was the meanest person I have ever worked for. Talked terrible to me all the time. And I would hate that job. All the way there, I hated it. And it was in the winter. And there was sometimes I had to weld outside, in a big yard. And all the way out there, I was afraid I was going to get fired. Now, when I look back at that, if that isn't a form of insanity, I don't know what the hell is. You're doing something you just hate doing. You're being treated terribly, and you're traveling all across the city in the winter, and you're afraid you're going to get fired. See, there's something missing there. Well, I think what's missing there is the fact that you're in control of your life. You're literally in control of your life. I love this. Steve Jobs said this, and this is so true. He said, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whenever the answer was no, for too many days in a row, I knew I need to change something. You see, I think we do know inside. Our problem is we're not following that little voice inside. And that's too bad, because we should be following it. And unfortunately, we're not. And we should be thinking of, what do we really want? Now, let's make today decision day for you, all right? Make a decision. I want you to totally relax, forget the past, and just deal with right now. Look here for a moment. Here's a little hourglass. The sand in the bottom, there's not much there because you just turned it over. That represents the past. The sand in the top of the glass represents the future. Now, the only thing you're going to do with is what's right here in the center right now. My grandmother, when I was a kid, pretty well raised me, and Grandma was always saying, "I'll soon be gone, dear, I'll soon be gone." Now, I think maybe, I was a little kid, and she was probably 60, which was really old. I've since changed my perception of that. But anyway, Grandma was always saying, "I'll soon be gone." Well, we thought she was never going to go. And we didn't want her to, but she was always saying that. Grandma was with us until she was 94. 94. She had 34 years, and she's saying, "I'll soon be gone, I'll soon be gone." Now, there's another young guy, Bob Yates. I chummed around with him. And Bob turned 16, a little ahead of me, so he got his driver's license ahead of me. He was coming in the Kingston Road Highway with a bit of a panel truck and about 18 gallons of red paint in the back of the truck. He hit the abutment of a big concrete bridge. And that was the end of Bob Yates. There was red paint all over that bridge for years. It was a shock to everybody. 16. If you had asked him a half hour before how much sand he had left, he probably would have said a half a century for low. He didn't have a half an hour. Here's Grandma at 60 saying, "I'll soon be gone." She went till she was 94. Do you want to know the truth? You don't know how much sand you got left. I don't know how much sand I got left. But I do know I'm here right now. Now, what we want to do is ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? Do you know a lot of people have trouble answering that? They have a difficult time answering it. And that's too bad, You don't have to know how you're going to get it. You don't have to know how you're going to get it. However, you must really know, or you must really want it, you see. Like, that is very important. Now, come back here. You don't have to know how you're going to get it, but you must really want it. When I sat down in 1973 in the den in my home in Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois, and I wrote down, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world, I had absolutely no idea how I was going to get it. And I didn't really have any serious doubts. I felt pretty certain I could do it because I had done a number of things up to that point. I had set goals and accomplished them, and I was pretty sure I could do it, okay? Now, start asking yourself, what do you really want? It's so important. I'm going to ask you what these people have in common. Watch the screen, and you tell me what these people have in common. These people were going to go where they had never been. In fact, they were going to go where no one had ever been. You talk about goals? Let's take a look at them. There they are. The Wright brothers. Now look at this. They didn't know how. The Wright brothers made their first flight on December the 17th, 1903, near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Their first flight lasted just 12 seconds. Now, there was a lot of people saying, well, they were only up there for 12 seconds. That isn't the way the Wright brothers looked at it. They thought, We not only got it up there, we got it up, and we kept the damn thing up there for 12 seconds. No one had ever done this. There had been millions spent on this. No one had ever done it. Think, really think about it. Stay with me here. Look at this. There's John Kennedy talking to Wernher von Braun, and he's asking him what it would take to build a rocket that will carry man to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth. And von Braun answered him just 5 simple words: the will to do it. They didn't know how, but you see, they knew if they set the goal, held the idea in their mind. Von Braun said the will to do it. The will is the mental faculty that holds one idea on the screen of the mind. You hold an idea on the screen of your mind, and you're going to be turning that over to your subconscious. Your subconscious mind is universal intelligence. And the first law of universal intelligence is a perpetual transmutation of energy. It must move into form. You've got to know where you're going, and you've got to know you're going to get there. Okay, now stay with us here. Really study this. Okay? The laws of this universe are so precise that we don't have any difficulty building a spaceship, sending people to the moon, and we can time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. Do we think that we're part of this or we're not part of this? Are we part of another planet? Do these laws apply to us? Well, I think they do. I think I mentioned I wandered into a room to sit down. Linda was watching television. I was going to watch it. I very rarely watch television. I just sat down. I wasn't there for 10 minutes. And I thought, I'm not going to watch this. And I got my phone rang as I was getting up. And it was Mikey. This is about a month ago. Mikey phoned me and she said, Bob, we have just gone into every country in the world. Now, I'm sitting here in a studio that we built. This is literally a television station. I can broadcast anywhere in the world from here. This place is so cutting edge, I'm telling you. Scott Edwards is running this studio, moving the cameras, doing everything that has to be done. He can do the editing, do the cutting, send it on out. Yet he's in Manchester, England, and I'm sitting in Toronto. This is all because we went to the moon. There were so many lessons learned by doing this. What are you going to do? Look, think. The very same laws will work in harmony with you if you work in harmony with them. To move whatever is required for you to manifest into physical form, whatever goal you desire. You see, we're working with absolute laws, and marvelous things will happen. Now stay with me. Look here. Just take a real good look at this. See that circle? That's the top of the world right there. That's sitting right at the top of the world. See these two guys? They stood there. That's Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. They went there in 1951 and failed. He's a beekeeper from Auckland, New Zealand. He was a beekeeper. He's going to do something that had never been done before. Do you know there's people embedded in ice at the top of that mountain that are never coming down? They were going to go to they wanted to climb the Mount Everest, and they didn't make it. They died up there. They ran out of oxygen, and it's all over. Hillary went there in 1951. He failed. And he went home. The people thought he was right out of his mind when he went back in 1952. They said, you're going to kill yourself doing this. You've got to stop it. And you know something? He failed again. But in 1953, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay stood right on the top of that mountain. There they are. And look at this. They planted their flag right on the top of the mountain. Pretty amazing. They did not know how, but it was at 11:30 a.m. on May the 29th, 1953. Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay had reached the highest point on earth. Hillary said, "To my great delight, I realized we were on top of Mount Everest, and the whole world was spread out below us." That's because they decided to do it. Do you recognize that? Do you recognize that statue? Do you recognize that man? He did not know how. Thomas Alva Edison Memorial Tower. Thomas Edison's teacher said he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for being non-productive. As an inventor, Edison made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at inventing the light bulb. When a reporter asked, "How did it feel failing 1,000 times?" Edison said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." These are goals.